So I fixed my MP3 player by soldering a new tiny diode in to replace the one that burned out, but apparently I did a shoddy job because it just broke again. So we're going to have us another installment of Thoughts I Have While Cleaning My Apartment. First one, people always say self-centered like it's a really bad thing to be self-centered, but I'm self-centered, and you know what you'll never catch me doing? Stalking someone. Yeah. Like, I always thought that was a really crazy thing to do, stalking someone. Like, I mean, to keep it real here, even if somebody would really appreciate the effort on my part, I may or may not do something. But if somebody isn't appreciating the effort, I'm not going to go and, like, do a bunch of stuff for them, right? I'm not going to go, like, follow them around or care anything about them. Like, if you don't want me around, well, then fuck yeah, I got my own stuff to do. Right? So stalkers are very selfless, but they're stalkers. So I always hear a lot of crap about victim blaming and how bad it is. Now this might be controversial, but I'm just going to throw it out there that victim blaming might not be the worst thing in the world. Allow me to explain. My parents, they had all sorts of inadequacies, as most parents do, but one thing that my father taught me that I feel is very useful is not to have a victim mentality. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say you should blame victims, but my father, if I were a victim, he would blame me. Now, here, I just thought of a story. A little story time with Uncle Snake. This was quite a while ago, probably more than 10 years, but, alright, I knew this guy, I think his name was Jeff. He sold me weed, okay? On a regular basis, we had a good business relationship buying weed-wise. So this one time, he says he needs some front money to go and get some, and so I give him $100, you know, because we had a long-standing relationship, and I feel like I can trust him to a certain extent at this point. And he's not there with the weed when he says he's going to be, and then I give him a call, and then it's more than a day, and I'm like, seriously, dude, what the fuck? You know, because I'm getting a little angry. Thing to know about me is, you know, sometimes I smoke weed and sometimes I don't, but when I've been smoking it really heavy and then I run out, I get real cranky, a little aggressive. Anyway, he's like, bitch, you ain't gonna do nothing, just, you know, talking shit on me like, motherfucker, I'll fuck you up, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, I'm like, you know what, just let it go. But then he calls me up yet another time, and you can hear a bong, and he's like, yeah, I'm smoking weed right now, bitch. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm not a machine. I have a certain amount of patience and tolerance, but sometimes you can't push me too far. He thinks, well, in real life, I'm usually fairly polite and reasonable, and sometimes people mistake this for weakness. And I don't want to sound racist here, but when I say people, I mean white people. Black people can generally read me correctly and realize that you can only really push me so far safely. But this was a guy who thinks he's a tough gangsta. He has a gun, and he knows that I know he has a gun, so he probably figures that I'm not going to do anything. But he fails to account for I don't fear death, and, well, I'm not his bitch. So I drive over to his little, it's in Kansas City, it's not really an apartment, it's sort of like never mind. But anyway, it's sort of like a two-story apartment. I walk up to the door, I knock on it, and, you know, I adopt a really submissive posture, like I'm about to beg, right? So he opens the door, and I'm like, listen, man, I'm really sorry about what I'm saying, it's just you gotta understand. And then as soon as I see him relax, I punch him in the throat and stomach. Okay? Lesson about guns. If you don't actually have it in your hand and point it at someone, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. Okay? So I am wailing on this motherfucker. I'm angry. Like I said, I don't get my weed, I get cranky. And, you know, he immediately looks and starts moving towards where the gun is, so again, didn't do him any good, because I just kicked him a few times and went to it first, hello. Firearm, no use. But the point is, I didn't say, oh no, I am a victim of being ripped off while buying weed. I'm like, motherfucker, you're my victim. See what I'm saying? That's a healthy attitude towards life. My humble opinion. Oh yeah, this wasn't worth the whole video, but while I'm on random silly topics, one of those pesky dames' mother came came onto my comments section and started talking. Strong women need their mother to defend them, you know. And what she said was, why would what's-her-face waste her time and energy trying to fight you when you have nothing worthwhile to say? Well, allow me to explain. She already said what she had to say, so it would take zero additional effort to fight me. Actually, what it is just allow her own position to be criticized. By not allowing videos to be posted to hers, she's saying one of two things. One, she doesn't think that her argument can stand on its own merit because the introduction of dissenting viewpoints tacked onto her very video would destroy it. As in, somebody would watch her video, they might go, that's an interesting thing to think about. Then they might watch my video and go, actually, I guess that was total shit, right? That's one option. The other is the idea that people are stupid, they can't make up their own minds, and they'll just believe whatever the fuck they hear. And, you know, that's kind of consistent with feminism. But if this were the case, then they might see my video and just change their mind like that, regardless of whether or not I had anything worthwhile to say. Those are the only two I can think of. The only other option would be that it's an aesthetic thing, like it just offends her sense of aesthetics to have a video such as mine associated with a video such as hers. But this only reinforces the stereotype that women concern themselves with meaningless minutiae of appearance. And by having such an attitude, you're basically supporting rape culture, so I can't imagine that it's that. Now, I took the time and I fixed my MP3 player again, so unless it breaks again, TTFN.